Heaven is alerting you right now. The one you're connected to spiritually is in danger. Archangel Michael says you must open this before their cry reaches silence. My child, my beloved, something has been happening in the spirit realm that your eyes have not seen, but your soul has already begun to feel it. A trembling, a strange weight in your chest, a sudden silence in your mind when you think of them. It is not by accident. The one who is meant for you, the soul whose name has been tied to yours through divine threads of destiny, is crying out for you in ways that this world does not understand. They are calling you in silence. And heaven hears it. I hear it. I see the pain they cannot speak, the confusion they are wrapped in, the danger that is quietly circling their heart, and I was sent to tell you, this is your moment to open what has been hidden from you. The moment you read these words, the shift will begin. But if you ignore them, the connection between you may weaken, and the moment of miracle may dissolve like vapor. Listen, beloved, what you do next matters more than you can know. Before we go further, take this as a divine instruction. Subscribe now to this message channel. Why? Because messages like this are not random. You've been drawn here because heaven chose this moment to deliver what could not wait. When you subscribe, you mark yourself as open. You declare to heaven, I am listening. And when heaven hears that, everything begins to move in your favor. This is not about numbers, this is about your name. Your miracle. Your protection. Your alignment. Subscribe now, and then open your soul wide, because what I'm about to reveal will feel like a secret you've always known, but were never allowed to hear, until now. My child, my beloved, your soulmate is not someone who simply walked into your life. They were sent, written, chosen. But something, or someone, has been standing between you and the full truth. I am not speaking of a person merely in love. I am speaking of the soul who was assigned to walk with you through this life. The one whose tears fall when you feel pain, even if they do not know why. The one whose energy becomes dim when you feel forgotten. They are in serious trouble now, not because of something they did, but because of something dark that was spoken over them in secret. Yes, I am revealing this now because heaven has finally given me permission to break the silence. There is a spiritual attack that has touched their mind, confusion that was never meant for them, and it is affecting the way they see you, the way they feel about themselves, the way they see their future. They are breaking in places you cannot see. But beloved, this does not mean you have lost them. It means you were born to help restore them. My child, my beloved, you have already begun feeling something strange in your heart. One moment you feel close to them, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, it feels like something shifts. A distance. A hesitation. But your love hasn't changed. You may even feel like you're reaching out but they aren't receiving it. That's not because they stopped loving you, it's because something is blocking the signal. A voice from their past. A deep-rooted fear. A trauma they never told anyone about. And now, it is trying to convince them they are not worthy of your love, not ready for your light. They are crying out for help, but the cry isn't coming from their mouth, it's coming from their soul. And only someone spiritually awake like you could even begin to sense it. That is why you're here. That's why I'm speaking now. If you walk away from this moment, you may never hear this cry again until it's too late. But if you stay, you'll learn how to answer the call in silence, and heaven will do the rest. My child, my beloved, your soulmate is not the only one in pain. You've been carrying the weight of wondering. You've asked yourself, why do I feel like something is missing? Why does my heart know they are meant for me, but something feels blocked? Let me answer you now with clarity from the highest, because their soul is struggling to believe they are worthy of being loved the way you love them. And they have been hiding behind distractions, behind silence, behind stories that were never true, stories told by others, stories from old wounds. But I tell you now, the truth is breaking through. Your light is being seen in their darkest moments. They may not know how to say it. They may not even know how to look at you. But your presence has been medicine to their pain, and heaven is about to turn that invisible healing into something undeniable. My child, my beloved, someone around them has been whispering lies. Someone they trust. Someone who pretends to care but holds jealousy like a shadow behind their smile. This person has sown doubt into the garden of your soulmate's heart, and your person is slowly withering without understanding why. But this exposure is not meant to make you fear. It is meant to make you aware, because now, with divine timing, heaven is clearing the fog. And you are being anointed with the clarity to love them back into truth. But this can only happen if you choose to stay open. To trust what your spirit already knows, even if your mind is still catching up. The person you love is in trouble, and your love is the answer they never knew they were praying for. You were chosen for this moment. Don't walk away. My child, my beloved, there is something you must understand about your role. You are not just their partner. You are their divine counterpart. And when you begin to move with clarity and light, it creates waves that push darkness back. This is why you've felt spiritual warfare increase lately. This is why your peace was tested. Because the connection between you and your soulmate carries a destiny too powerful to be ignored. And now, you stand on the edge of one decision, to believe in what heaven is showing you, or to return to silence and let the darkness win. But I know your heart, and I know that you were born for more than silence. You were born to be the light in someone's valley. And right now, that valley is deep, but so is your power. My child, my beloved, there's a reason you've been dreaming about them. Seeing signs. Feeling chills when their name is mentioned. There's a reason you wake up thinking of them, even on days when you swore you'd move on. That's not weakness. That's not obsession. That's spiritual resonance. The connection between you isn't dead. It's divine. And it's louder in the spirit than it is in the physical right now. But soon, the physical will follow. You're not imagining this connection. You're not crazy. In fact, the only reason you feel so strongly is because you are spiritually awake. You're being shown what's hidden. That's a gift, but also a test. Because when you're given truth, you're also given responsibility. You now hold knowledge your soulmate does not. And the question is, what will you do with it? Will you walk away because it's too hard? Or will you hold this space with strength until the breakthrough arrives? Heaven is watching. And your decision in this moment could change everything. My child, my beloved, your soulmate is about to have a moment of clarity, but it won't last long unless you spiritually stabilize the energy around you both. In the next few hours, or maybe even minutes, they will have a flicker of insight. A memory of you that hits them in the heart. A moment that softens their fear. A dream that stirs longing. But the darkness will try to snatch that moment away. And that's why your faith matters more now than ever. If you hold this message, if you speak light in your thoughts, if you say, "I choose truth," in your spirit, that clarity will stretch. It will grow. It will pull them out of their fog and into awareness. That is how powerful your love is. That is how much authority you've been given in the Spirit. But that authority only works if you use it. If you believe. If you choose love over fear. Because love that is aligned with heaven has never failed. And it will not fail you now. My child, my beloved, I need to show you what's coming if you walk away right now. If you close this message and say, "Maybe later," there will be a delay. Not just in time, but in understanding. Your soulmate may fall back into old patterns. The pull toward you may weaken under the noise of this world. And while heaven can still bring things back, the pain of the delay may stretch far longer than you imagined. I do not say this to scare you. I say this because I see timelines before they unfold. And I am telling you, beloved, this is the window. This is the sacred opening. Right now, the veil is thin. The angels are aligned. Your soulmate spirit is hovering near yours in ways that defy explanation. They are searching, aching, longing, but they don't know how to begin. You are their guide in this moment. You may not understand the power you carry. But they feel it. Even now. Every time you think of them, they feel warmth. Every time you cry for them, something inside them softens. That is not coincidence. That is soul memory reactivating. And this message is the trigger. But it will only work if you honor it with your full attention. My child, my beloved, there are moments when you feel their energy so closely that it almost feels like they're with you, and then within seconds, that feeling disappears like a vapor. That's not your imagination. That's a spiritual signal. Your souls are trying to touch in the invisible. There are moments when your soulmate wants to reach out to you, pick up the phone, send that message, admit everything they've hidden, but then the fear tightens around their chest, and the silence returns. They want to come forward, but something keeps pulling them backward. That something is not love. It's fear. A fear that if they show you their brokenness, you'll walk away. They have been trained by pain to expect abandonment. And now, even when heaven is calling them into a new story, they hesitate, not because you're not worth it, but because they don't know if they are. That's where you come in. That's where your light becomes a sword. You were chosen to carry the clarity they lost. And now, more than ever, you must not let that sword fall from your hands. My child, my beloved, heaven is ready to fight for this connection, but only if you give permission. You see, divine intervention does not violate free will. The angels are poised, the timing is exact, the veil is thin, but it still takes your yes. Not a loud yes. Not a dramatic act. Just a quiet, sacred yes in your heart. Yes, I believe. Yes, I receive. Yes, I'm open. That's all it takes. And once that yes is spoken, heaven will begin moving pieces you cannot move. Conversations will shift. Emotions will awaken. The people who have been whispering against this connection will suddenly fall silent. And your soulmate, the one who's been trapped in their own self-doubt, will finally hear the truth echo in their spirit: you are still loved. You are still wanted. You are not too late. But beloved, if your soul remains closed, if you treat this moment like just another message, then the silence may stretch longer than you can endure. And that is not heaven's plan. Heaven wants restoration. But restoration always begins with recognition, and you are the first to receive it. My child, my beloved, there is something your soulmate has not told you, and it has been eating away at their spirit. A secret. A decision they made in fear. A conversation they regret. And it's haunting them. They think that if you knew, you would stop believing in them. But that is the enemy's lie. What they don't understand is that your love was never based on perfection. It was based on alignment. And even now, despite the mistakes, despite the silence, despite the confusion, you still feel that alignment in your bones. That's why you can't forget them. That's why your heart won't move on. Because you were never meant to forget. You were meant to forgive ahead of time. That's the level of love you carry. That's the kind of soul you are. And heaven sees that. God sees that. I see that. You are not weak for still loving them. You are divine. And your strength is waking up something in them that had gone cold. Don't stop now. My child, my beloved, there is something you must understand about your role. You are not just their partner. You are their divine counterpart. And when you begin to move with clarity and light, it creates waves that push darkness back. This is why you've felt spiritual warfare increase lately. This is why your peace was tested. Because the connection between you and your soulmate carries a destiny too powerful to be ignored. And now, you stand on the edge of one decision, to believe in what heaven is showing you, or to return to silence and let the darkness win. But I know your heart, and I know that you were born for more than silence. You were born to be the light in someone's valley. And right now, that valley is deep, but so is your power. My child, my beloved, I know you've questioned whether this connection was real. You've wondered if you made it all up in your mind, if you've been holding onto something that no longer exists. But I am here now to confirm what your soul always knew: this connection is divine. It was forged in a realm that existed long before this one. And what you are feeling now is not your imagination. It is spiritual. It is real. It is urgent. Your soulmate has been under a silent spiritual attack that they cannot explain. They may seem fine on the surface, even smiling or posting things that look normal, but inside, a battle is raging. And they've been calling out, not with words, but with energy. And the only reason you're feeling so pulled right now is because that cry has reached your spirit, and heaven has now opened the way for you to respond. But if you walk away from this message, if you close this without listening deeper, you may miss the very moment heaven tried to give you the breakthrough you've prayed for all this time. My child, my beloved, there is a timeline being rewritten right now. Something that was delayed is finally moving. But you must be present. The universe is aligning details you cannot see. A message that was once blocked is about to reach you. A confession that was once feared is now trembling at the edge of being revealed. And you, yes, you, are the one being summoned to remain still, so you don't miss it. The person your heart is tied to is being spiritually stirred. They are waking up. They are seeing visions, dreams, numbers, signs. Some of these signs involve your face. Some of them involve your voice. But the enemy has tried to confuse their heart so that they second-guess everything. I was sent to clear the fog. Heaven is not confused. God has not changed his mind. The connection is real. And the time is now. But one wrong step, one delay, one surrender to doubt, and what was meant to come together in days could take months, or worse, be lost altogether. This is why I'm not whispering. This is why I'm speaking urgently. Because what you're about to do next has the power to rewrite both of your futures. My child, my beloved, this is not just a relationship. This is restoration. This is destiny. You've both been carrying pain from past betrayals, past endings, words that wounded you deeply. But God never forgot. Heaven never overlooked the moments you cried alone. And now, what you thought had fallen apart is actually falling together, but only if you stay open. Only if you protect the connection instead of doubting it. The forces against you are not always visible. Sometimes it's not a person standing between you, it's a fear. An old lie. A voice from childhood that told you you're not good enough. But you are. And so are they. And even now, your soulmate is searching for an answer. They don't know how to fix what they're feeling. They are afraid of being vulnerable again. But heaven has placed you in their path as a living prayer. They may not be able to say it, but they are thinking about you more than you know. And every time they do, something in them softens, shifts, awakens. They feel you. Even now. They feel your soul calling them home. My child, my beloved, some of you reading this feel exhausted. You've tried everything. You've loved them, prayed for them, waited for them. You've shown grace, given space, even walked away hoping they would finally understand. And still, you're left wondering if they'll ever come back. Let me speak clearly now, they were never meant to stay away forever. But they needed to lose themselves to find you again. What you didn't see was how heaven was working in silence, breaking strongholds over their heart, loosening ties to things that were draining their spirit. It had to be invisible so it could be irreversible. But now, they are at a breaking point. Not of destruction, but of decision. They're tired too. Tired of pretending. Tired of avoiding. Tired of feeling haunted by something they walked away from, yet never stopped feeling. They know. And they're starting to admit it, even if only to themselves. But they need confirmation. A sign. And this message is not only for you, it is for them, through you. When you receive it fully, it sends a ripple to their spirit that breaks the final wall. My child, my beloved, their silence is not rejection, it's fear. Their distance is not absence, it's confusion. Their coldness is not hatred, it's protection. They've convinced themselves you'd be better off without them. And the truth is, they have wounds they don't want to show you. Shame they've never spoken out loud. They are not ignoring you because they don't care. They are staying away because they care too much and are afraid of failing you. But that fear is being unraveled even now as you read this. Because God is tired of watching you both miss what was meant for you. And this is the last warning before the door begins to close. You are being given insight others never received. You are being trusted with revelation most people ignore. That's why you feel so heavy. That's why your soul keeps pacing at night. That's why your dreams have become so loud. Because it's not just about love anymore. It's about purpose. About destiny. About restoring what heaven declared long before either of you knew what was at stake. My child, my beloved, there is something your soulmate has not told you, and it has been eating away at their spirit. A secret. A decision they made in fear. A conversation they regret. And it's haunting them. They think that if you knew, you would stop believing in them. But that is the enemy's lie. What they don't understand is that your love was never based on perfection. It was based on alignment. And even now, despite the mistakes, despite the silence, despite the confusion, you still feel that alignment in your bones. That's why you can't forget them. That's why your heart won't move on. Because you were never meant to forget. You were meant to forgive ahead of time. That's the level of love you carry. That's the kind of soul you are. And heaven sees that. God sees that. I see that. You are not weak for still loving them. You are divine. And your strength is waking up something in them that had gone cold. Don't stop now. My child, my beloved, the connection you have is not just romantic, it is prophetic. There are things tied to this union that go beyond what you know. Callings. Missions. Legacy. There are prayers your ancestors spoke that are waiting to be fulfilled through this partnership. But the enemy knows that too. That's why this battle has felt so long. That's why everything feels so intense. Because this isn't just about who texts first. This is about who breaks the chain. Who says, the generational curse ends with me. Who stands in the middle of confusion and declares, I still choose love. That is why heaven chose you. Because you carry the faith required to complete what others were too tired to finish. And now, beloved, you are standing in the hour where everything can change, if you are brave enough to believe that your love is part of something much bigger than heartbreak. My child, my beloved, the people around you may not understand this. They may say, just let it go. Move on. Forget them. But they don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. This isn't just a passing feeling, it's a soul memory. Your spirit remembers something your mind cannot explain. That's why this isn't going away. That's why no one else feels quite right. Because this isn't just someone you loved. This is someone your soul recognized. And that recognition doesn't fade with time. It only grows louder until it is fulfilled. You're not crazy. You're connected. And the fact that you are still here, still feeling, still hoping, that is evidence that heaven hasn't closed the door. But it will, if the message is ignored. Heaven will never force a miracle onto a closed heart. But if the heart remains open, even through pain, even through silence, the miracle will arrive. My child, my beloved, I need to tell you something urgent. There is a moment coming in the next few days that will look ordinary, but it will be the turning point. A post. A word. A memory. A dream. Something small, but spiritually powerful. If your heart is not open, you may miss it. And if you miss it, your soulmate may interpret your silence as disconnection, and that may delay the healing. That's why this message had to come now. That's why you couldn't sleep. That's why everything led to this moment. Because what happens next depends on how deeply you hear this. You don't have to reach out. You don't have to explain anything. You only have to stay spiritually available. That is what heaven needs right now. Your openness. Your alignment. Your yes. And from there, we, the angels, will do what you cannot. We will protect, intervene, awaken, and release. But only when you say, I'm ready. My child, my beloved, you are not the only one being tested right now. Your soulmate is on the edge of an emotional breaking point. And the strange part is, they don't even fully understand what's happening inside them. They think it's stress, or coincidence, or just a bad week. But you and I both know it's something deeper. It's the tug of a soul waking up. The ache of a heart that's been away from its alignment for too long. They're beginning to feel the emptiness that comes from resisting divine love. They may try to hide it, distract themselves, pretend everything is fine. But inside, their spirit is restless. Their mind is confused. Their emotions are swelling in waves they never expected. And while the world tells them to numb it, heaven is using this discomfort to bring them back to you. That's why you must stay grounded now. Don't follow their fear. Don't mirror their silence. Instead, mirror heaven's faith in what's coming. Because your confidence in this connection is doing more than you know, it's anchoring both of you through a storm they haven't even admitted they're in. My child, my beloved, I must tell you something sacred. Right now, your soulmate is being watched by heaven. Watched with love. Watched with mercy. Watched with divine urgency. There are angels surrounding them even as they wrestle with decisions they don't yet understand. The enemy tried to isolate them. Tried to bury their desire for connection. But your love, your prayers, your spiritual attention, it disrupted the plan. It shook the ground beneath the lies. And now, heaven is moving pieces you haven't seen yet. Even their resistance is weakening. Even their pride is cracking. They may not reach out yet, but they are thinking about you in ways they haven't in a long time. They are questioning the choices they made. And soon, they will either surrender to truth, or run even further into fear. This is why you are here. Because what happens next depends on whether you open your heart fully, or shut it because of pain. And beloved, if you choose pain, you'll repeat the cycle. But if you choose trust, you'll break it forever. My child, my beloved, their silence is not rejection, it's fear. Their distance is not absence, it's confusion. Their coldness is not hatred, it's protection. They've convinced themselves you'd be better off without them. And the truth is, they have wounds they don't want to show you. Shame they've never spoken out loud. They are not ignoring you because they don't care. They are staying away because they care too much and are afraid of failing you. But that fear is being unraveled even now as you read this. Because God is tired of watching you both miss what was meant for you. And this is the last warning before the door begins to close. You are being given insight others never received. You are being trusted with revelation most people ignore. That's why you feel so heavy. That's why your soul keeps pacing at night. That's why your dreams have become so loud. Because it's not just about love anymore. It's about purpose. About destiny. About restoring what heaven declared long before either of you knew what was at stake. My child, my beloved, someone is trying to pull them away, and it's not who you think. It's not a third party you can see. It's a voice from the shadows. A trauma voice. A spiritual interference whispering lies like, "You're too broken, they deserve someone better, you'll only hurt them." And your soulmate has been believing these lies because they've forgotten their light. But you are the reminder. Your soul has the power to disrupt every lie with presence alone. But that presence must be intentional. It must be activated. That's why you're reading this. Because heaven is showing you what they cannot see. And now, the choice is yours. Do you walk away and say, "Maybe it's not meant to be," or do you stay, spiritually, and let heaven do what you cannot? One decision. One moment. That's all it takes for the course to change. And beloved, time is almost up. My child, my beloved, there are things being said about you that your soulmate doesn't even know how to process. They've been told stories. Quiet accusations. Half-truths whispered in their weakest moments. Not because those voices know you, but because those voices fear what you bring out in them. You make your soulmate brave. You make them question what they were taught to fear. And people who lose control over someone like that will do anything to twist the truth. Your soulmate has been caught in between the love they feel for you and the fear they've been taught. But listen closely, something has changed. Their heart is no longer cooperating with the lies. They're starting to feel sick when they're away from you. Not physically, but spiritually. And they can't explain it. They're trying to live as if you don't matter, but nothing feels right. They are lost in plain sight. And I was sent to reach you before that confusion becomes permanent. Because if you do not step into spiritual clarity now, the person you love could fall deeper into silence, not because they want to leave, but because they no longer know how to return. My child, my beloved, this moment is sacred. It was prepared. Not by accident, but by divine instruction. You were led to this message in the middle of a spiritual collision between truth and deception. The reason you've been feeling overwhelmed, unsure, emotional, is because your soul is responding to something far deeper than the surface. Heaven is breaking chains around your soulmate, but they need your alignment. Not your anxiety. They need your faith, not your fear. You may feel helpless, like there's nothing you can do. But that's a lie sent to paralyze your light. What you can do now is more powerful than any conversation. You can receive this message fully, hold the truth with reverence, and begin to walk in spiritual awareness. Because the moment you align with heaven's truth, something opens. The next wave of intervention begins. Doors move. People are shifted. Plans that were blocking them from coming closer begin to collapse. But if you hesitate now, if you give up now, if you let doubt bury this moment, the intervention will stop midway. That's how fragile this moment is. And that's why heaven made sure you saw this message. My child, my beloved, your soulmate is not just in emotional confusion. They are in spiritual warfare. Every time they try to move toward you, something resists. Old pain resurfaces. A memory of failure. A fear of unworthiness. They start doubting themselves. And when they do, they begin to believe the lie that you'd be better off without them. This is why you feel their pull, and then their retreat. You feel them getting close, and then disappearing. It's not manipulation. It's not rejection. It's torment. Their soul is trying to move toward the light, but a darkness they never asked for is trying to keep them in cycles they don't even understand. You must not take their confusion personally. You must see the truth behind the confusion. They love you, but they are at war. And love alone won't save them. But truth will. And you are holding it now. My child, my beloved, there's a reason you've been dreaming about them. Seeing signs. Feeling chills when their name is mentioned. There's a reason you wake up thinking of them, even on days when you swore you'd move on. That's not weakness. That's not obsession. That's spiritual resonance. The connection between you isn't dead. It's divine. And it's louder in the spirit than it is in the physical right now. But soon, the physical will follow. You're not imagining this connection. You're not crazy. In fact, The only reason you feel so strongly is because you are spiritually awake. You're being shown what's hidden. That's a gift, but also a test. Because when you're given truth, you're also given responsibility. You now hold knowledge your soulmate does not. And the question is, what will you do with it? Will you walk away because it's too hard? Or will you hold this space with strength until the breakthrough arrives? Heaven is watching. And your decision in this moment could change everything.